I really don't know how genuinely anyone in the world looks at Hakeem Jeffries and goes, that's who I want fighting for me every day of the week. No one, even fucking Hakeem Jeffries' mom is probably like, shit, I wish someone else was in there.
I gotta wonder, like, why Pelosi picked him for this. I wonder if he's really good at, because like Pelosi got her position mainly because she's great at fundraising. She was able to bring a lot of money to the coffers of the Democratic Party. And maybe Jeffries is the same way. I don't know. I don't. There's got to be some reason. But anyway, this is a clip that I found. Actually, from Jeffries talking to Stephen A. Smith, and Hakeem Jeffries talks about how he is a sensible politician because he is not bending the knee to the far left or to the far right. And I just want to play this here.
Well, listen, the extreme left protest me more than they protest Donald Trump. Because literally, wherever I go. So I think in part because I've declined, I've refused, I've chosen not to bend the knee to either people on the far left.
Pause.
And certainly not to Donald Trump and the far right. We all have a responsibility to serve the people we were elected to represent and the country and the Constitution. And I certainly have not been bashful and will not be bashful in disagreeing with people who are trying to take this country in a direction that doesn't lift everybody up, whether that comes from the right or whether that comes from the far left.
Okay, so I wanted to point out several things here. The first is I have grown quite tired of this comparing the far left to the far right. I a long time ago I've been tired of this. That you have, like, on the far left you have communism, and on the far left you have Nazism. Even if you don't like communism, fine, I get it. Nazism is worse, okay? Nazism is worse. Communism is an economic theory in which the workers own the means of production to produce a classless, moneyless, stateless society. That is your definition of communism right there. Nazism is racial supremacy of one group that needs to exterminate the others. There's a reason when you go to your clip art in like PowerPoint or Canva or whatever, you can find hammer and sickles, ain't no problem. You're not going to find swastikas because Nazism is a lot worse and a lot more offensive. So even if you want to say they're both bad, one is significantly worse than the other. And they aren't just as bad. They just aren't. And Hakeem Jeffries sitting there, I'm sick of him doing this. He will always take his opportunity to shit on the left flank. And you know who doesn't do that? The Republicans. I rarely see Republicans out there saying, oh, look, the far right is insane. We really need to distance.
They go out of their way to not criticize the far right.
Yes.
If you hold their fucking feet to the fire and be like, will you condemn Nazis? They will not condemn Nazis. They will not condemn white supremacists. Like, they won't. They'll be there at CPAC doing the fucking Sig Hail, and they're laughing about it. It's the exact opposite. And for someone like Hakeem Jeffries, even if you are going to make the argument that Nazis and communists are equally as bad, which again, they are not. If you are the leader of the left-wing party, you should not be placing yourself equally distant from the Nazis and the communists. Like, you should be closer to the communists. You should want to defeat the Nazis more than the communists because you're leading the left-wing party. They're part of your fucking coalition. Like, it's insane to me. And then they'll fucking complain when the communists don't vote for them. Like, you're literally saying we're just as bad as Hitler. I don't even get the argument that he tries to make.
Yeah, all of your fire should be trained on the right flank of American politics. It should be incessant. It should be nonstop. Every time you're in front of a camera, every time you're making a press release, every time you're talking in front of your colleagues, talking in front of your constituents, you should be saying, here is the problem with the United States economy right now. Here's the problem with the United States social issues right now. This is what's dragging down the people and stopping them from being prosperous and being happy, and pointing directly at the Republican Party as often as again. Oh, another thing Jeffries does. I wish I had pulled up a clip for this. John, I know this is going to get you, but Jeffries very rarely will say something like, well, the Republicans are a problem. What he loves to say are the extreme MAGA Republicans. He's still saying it. Have you caught him saying that?
it's carryover from Joe Biden. Like it is to me a signal. It's like, oh, we're going to do same as usual because Joe Biden started doing that. I hated it when he started doing it, but at the very least, when Joe Biden started doing it, you could make the argument that he's trying to push the Republican Party away from MAGA extremism. You can at least make that argument where he's like, hey guys, I'll work with you if you leave those idiots. It didn't work, obviously. And now we're still doing it. And it's like, why? Every single Republican is voting in lockstep with Donald Trump. So either Donald Trump isn't far-right MAGA extremism or nothing. That's the only, he is. And if the Republicans are voting with him, then all of the Republicans, the entire Republican congressional makeup is far-right MAGA extremists. That's what they are. You cannot separate the two.
Yeah, I don't know why he keeps doing this and why any Democratic politicians or Democratic prominent leaders bother making that distinction. Like it's like if the 2024 election didn't prove to you that the Republicans will stick by Trump no matter what, I don't know what will. I really don't. That going all in on this strategy that, what we got to do? We have to pull over those moderate Republicans, those sensible Republicans that know better, that want their country to return to normal. Although I do got to give a hats off to the Lincoln Project guys. What an incredible grift. Like, what an incredible grift the Lincoln Project guy. I would love to, we should Google how much money the Lincoln Project ended up raising over the last, 8 years or so, saying we are the sensible, noble, Bill Kristol style Republicans that, really, really stand up against Donald Trump, to have the same number of Republicans vote for Democrats whenever Trump ran. This is the clip that I was thinking of where Hakeem Jeffries, well, not only does he bring up my favorite extreme MAGA Republicans line, is he has a nickname for Donald Trump. Have you seen this, John?
It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
All right, let's go.
Chaos and the extreme MAGA Republicans. Chaos and the extreme MAGA Republicans spent last year promising to lower the high cost of living and running away from Project 2025 as if it didn't exist. They've spent this year implementing the most extreme parts of the Project 2025 agenda, which will hurt the American people, while doing nothing, not a single thing, not a single bill, not a single idea, not a single plan to lower the high cost of living. In fact, the cost of groceries is going up, not down, including but not limited to the price of eggs. We've got to hold the Republicans accountable, and we will.
All right. Unfortunately, that clip did not cut out like the first half second, which is pretty important, where he says Captain Chaos, which is
Captain Chaos.
A ridiculous.
The worst nickname.
Yeah.
That not only is it a loser thing, it sounds like a Saturday morning cartoon from
yes,
the 90s.
It does.
It also, like, he would make it think it sounds cool. Like Donald Trump is like that. He takes that as a compliment. Like it's not hurting him at all, bro.
No. And him, what I get tired of too is when people do this, where they say that I've complained about this even before the election, that I don't like the focus on Project 2025. I don't. And he just did it there, where Hakeem Jeffries says he's implementing Project 2025 because he's still operating on polling that Project 2025 is unpopular. Okay, but he won anyway. So that's clearly not cutting it, right? Like that, you need to go on. And that's why I say focus on the policies. Say why Project 2025 is bad. Say that, hey, this idea that the president is essentially a minor king, that's not cool. Well, maybe we need to take that power away and stop that from being implemented. But if you just signal toward Project 2025, the only people that's going to activate are the people who already have a negative opinion on it. You need to tell people why this is bad. Then again, this doesn't sound like difficult politics to me. It doesn't sound difficult politics to me. Identify your enemy. Don't identify a small sliver. Who is an extreme MAGA Republican? Which ones are MAGA Republicans? Which ones are extreme? Tell me. Tell me which one it is, or just say all Republicans. I don't understand. What is Kyle saying over here? Keith the Stubborn Jackass McGee, we wouldn't be happy, but we would be content. Kyle, you missed the beginning of the show where we talked about what we would do if all the right wingers disappear. This is the question he asked. What if every right winger suddenly disappeared? Then would you libs be happy? And our answer was that, well, if every right winger disappeared, we would search for them. We would do our best to try to find where these missing people were. And the first place we would look is directly up Keith's mom's ass, because that's where everyone is hanging out these days. John was just there last week. He was telling us all about it. And Kyle says, The whole "we need to pivot to the center" thing is always BS. They were going to turn to the right and then blame the left. Works every time. Every election cycle, Democrats pander to moderates and centrists, then blame the left for losing the election for them and move farther to the right and repeat the process. The Democrats are in a tricky situation politically because their donors fundamentally don't want a radical shift away from the direction of capitalism. And that's what a lot of their constituents want. So they got to find a way to denigrate their constituents while appealing to the donors, and it kind of keeps them stagnant. Like, it's going to be a dead political party if they don't, dynamically activate the way they put their messaging and the priorities.